escrow, we can have a long escrow. If we find somebody, there's people out there that do that, right? Yeah, so. Okay, here are any other addenda that are made a part of this contract. Sometimes, I'm surprised it's not in here, but Exhibit A is made a part of this. Where did that go? Right, so we can put Exhibit A here, because Exhibit A and the MLS data input form is going to become part of the contract. This should actually be in here. I don't know why it's not, but I'll go in and check. And the rest of the contract does not have any more fillables, so the rest of this is just for us to be able to use. So unfortunately, the next section starts at the bottom of page 2 called Brokerage Firm's Obligations. So it says, I'm going to use my best efforts to sell this property for you. I'm going to market the property by putting a for sale sign in the yard. I'm going to advertise the property in the MLS and on the intranet and other forms. I'm going to prepare informational sheet, which really means a flyer, right, about the property. I'm going to hold brokers' opens, open houses, and any other special showings as we deem appropriate. So this is really my obligations to you, right? So that's cool. And then communication, the note by the way here says that the seller understands that nothing ever goes away in the internet. If it's on the internet, you may find it there 5 years from now. There's nothing we can do about it, right? Stuff just exists forever. Communication, brokerage firms agrees to keep the seller informed. Really important. It's the #1 complaint by sellers is that agents don't stay in touch with them enough. Negotiating, we agreed to help them negotiate and evaluating the value of the property. Escrow process, the brokerage firm agrees to assist and guide the sellers through the escrow process, and we agreed to abide by fair housing laws. And then there's the seller's representations. So here the seller says that there's no financing defaults, they're not delinquent in any way, there's no insolvency, no litigation. Is there any of these that pertain to this property, right? Well, I am being sued by a neighbor. Oh, tell me about that, right? Whatever might come up. But if you didn't ask, guess what? They're not going to tell you because they don't really want to tell you. And then your obligations. So your obligations are to cooperate in preparing the property for showings and open houses and providing pertinent information and permit access to the property for showings as well as for home inspections and all the other inspections that a buyer may request when we're in escrow. So you're going to give me access as needed during the reasonable hours for showings and open houses and such. Here is a lockbox paragraph. Now watch this. If your client does not want a lockbox, says absolutely not, you go up here and you hit the strikeout button. See this button up here called strikeout? You hit that, and now you can highlight the lockbox paragraph. Like that.
I saw where you went, but I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Right here.
Maybe there's more.
Strike out.
More.
Strike out.
Yeah, there it is. Yeah.
Right next to highlight.
For us, it's under more. Because of the laptops, yeah.
Yep.
Okay,
Strike
got
out, okay.
And then you hit it again.
it. So then you went back.
Okay, and it draws a line through it. Cool.
And here's something else I like to do. So I'm going to go to highlight. I'm going to click on the highlight button, and I'm going to go to securing valuables. And then I highlight it, and I'm going to hit the highlight button again, and now that sentence is in yellow for me. And I like to do that because this reminds me to talk about these things, that these are really important. And the securing valuables conversation is a really important conversation. So this is a great way. You can literally have all sorts of things highlighted in your contract to remind you to go over them. It's very cool. Professional advice, just to remind you, I'm not an attorney, I'm not a surveyor, I'm a realtor, so I'm going to advise you to go see specialists. And this says that you agree to review all offers, that first of all, I agree to present them to you in a timely manner, and number two, that you agree to respond to all offers received. So at this point, just so you know, our forms require a rejection signature, so if you reject an offer, I'm gonna ask you to sign just the back of the contract to reject, okay? I mean, you wouldn't believe how many people say, I don't wanna respond. I don't even wanna respond. And you'll get that. There will be people who don't give it to you in writing and just let it expire. Say, no, my seller's not responding, or my buyer's not responding, whatever, it's too high, too low, not high, too low. Well, too high for the buyer, right? The counter offer is too high, so I'm not going there,
So
whatever.
each side needs to reject. in writing.
Each side needs to reject at this point, yes, we have a rejection box now. And this is where the seller in writing has agreed to sign and respond to in writing all offers. I like to remind the older realtors of that who let their offers expire. Listing agents, you know, your seller signed a document that says he's obligated to respond in writing. And then disclosure. So the next portion of the contract is about the seller's disclosure, because it's really important, and I'm going to help you with that. The law is written for you, Mr. Seller. It's not written for me. It says that you, in selling real property, are obligated to disclose everything you know about this property. The Realtors Association put together a form for that purpose, so we've got a form to help you think of all the things to disclose. And I'm going to encourage you to disclose everything you know about the property, including past repairs. So, I know you told me the other day that there was some mold down in your workshop, down underneath the living room area where you've got your workshop, and that you had all that remediated, is that right? Yeah, we need to disclose that. What do you mean? That's the reason I had it fixed. I don't want to disclose it. I don't want to tell people there's mold. They're just going to get all wigged out. No, they're going to get wigged out when they find out somehow, some other way that you didn't tell them about it, and now they don't know whether it was remediated properly. Whereas if you can show all the documentation that says this is everything I had done to this area, and it was totally mold clear, and I had it tested, and I got a clearance certificate, now they're all like, okay, this house is clean. That's good to know. So put yourself into a buyer's shoes. If you were buying a property, would you want to know the history? Would you want to know that that area had mold and why, and how you can prevent that from happening again, right? Or maybe it's one of those northern-facing corners of the house that's always going to be a problem, and now you need to make sure you look for it and keep an eye on it, right? It's the kind of stuff we want to know about a property. So I'm going to help you fill that out. I'll be there to guide you. But the point is that you're obligated to do that, and we're going to just fill that form out early on in our process because it's the first thing that gets sent to a buyer when we go into a contract. Leasehold, this is not leasehold. Fair housing, just so you know, I have to abide by fair housing laws, so and people go like, so what does that mean? Well, that means if you get 3 offers, and one of the offers that comes in, the people include a picture of themselves and talk a lot about their family and their kids, I'm not going to be able to pass that letter on to you. I'm going to ask that buyer to withdraw that letter and to tone it down and to not include a photograph. Really? Yeah. Because if you've got a Japanese couple over here, a family over here, and you've got a pretty blonde, blue-eyed family over here, and over here you have a gay couple, I don't want you to know that stuff. I would rather we just take a look at their offers, and if they want to compliment your house and talk about how much they love your house and love the property, that's great. But we cannot be basing our conclusions on that kind of information. Wow, okay. Another one that comes up is you sell a property for somebody who's been in that home for a long time. They've lived in that neighborhood for a long time, and they go, you know, maybe this happen, you know, Mary. We just love our neighbors and we love this whole neighborhood. We all raised our kids here, and at this point, we're all elderly, and we promised the neighborhood that we weren't gonna sell to a young couple with kids, because, you know, it's just really gotten to be a quiet, gentle neighborhood. And I just say, I totally understand, and I'm afraid I can't do that. And they go, "Oh, why?" And I'd explain that our fair housing laws, that's discrimination, and it's not allowed. And the moment you help people realize that that's discrimination, most people go, "Oh my God, you're right." It's like, wow, I hadn't even thought of that, right? So it's our job to think of that. Prospects from a prior listing, right? So here's that, that they agree to give us the prospect list and we agree to honor it. Mediation and arbitration are recommended, and it's what is parties are able to resolve disputes. Seller agrees to attempt in good faith to exercise mediation and arbitration. So there's no obligation to do so. It explains what escrow is. Here's some costs overview. Here are the costs they can expect to run into. Seller authorizes the brokerage firm to do its job, and that fact that the brokerage firm may have listings, may have other clients with similar listings, and the seller understands this. So if you are marketing the neighborhood and there is a chance that you could get another listing, it's a good thing to bring up and say, by the way, if that should happen, whether it's me or another agent, it's a good thing. You know how all the car dealerships are on one street? It's because it makes it easier for people to shop. Well, the same thing happens with houses. The more houses that are available in a neighborhood, the more likely people are to come and look. So it's actually not a bad thing. And then we go into release of information. That's, you know, you can read that for yourself. Here we have an explanation of FERPA and HARPTA. So you want to write, and chances are you know this about the seller at this point. If the seller is not a Hawaii citizen, Hawaii resident, or if the seller is not a U.S. resident, right? Then you need to talk about this.
Resident or citizen then?
Resident. Citizenship does not.
Right, you can buy.
You can own property and not be a citizen.
Okay, so it's all about residency.
Mhm. And then that's kind of it. And at the end here, we've got the seller signing, and then at the bottom you have the brokerage firm signing right here. So, and then the seller's initials when they have received a copy of the contract. So now what you want to do is you want to see about getting this contract signed by your broker. So we're going to go to e-sign right here.
Where am I? Yeah.
Go to e-sign.
Okay.
Oh, over on the edge.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And what it does is it opens the package name, and the package name is called exclusive right to sell listing contract. And next is signing service, and you can see here there's a DocuSign if you click down on the little arrow, or ZipLogix. I use ZipLogix. If you've connected your Zipforms to DocuSign, you can use DocuSign, but that would need to be a personal account, not the account you have with Command. So ZipLogix. And then we go, here's the contract, that's right, and now we go over to the right is our next button, and on the left is our back button, okay? So these big green buttons on the top right and left. So we hit the next button. And now we go to people. We say, yep, Marion needs to sign. And we know she's not the listing agent. We know she's the, oh no, excuse me, not Marion. It's, Keone is the broker, the listing broker. So we're gonna hit it for Keone, except I'm not gonna do that. I don't want him to.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna hit myself here. Except now it's gonna say that there's no place for me to sign on this form, so that isn't actually gonna work. However, I've chosen him, and notice I'm going along these 3 steps up here, right? So I selected a form, I've selected a party, and now I go next. And it has the security option, and I say, no thank you, I don't need more security. And now it says,
Did you just click on the one that?
I I just went to the next button in the upper right.
I don't have one, I think I'm supposed to choose myself here, is that right?
You can choose somebody, choose yourself.
Choose me, you can choose me or whatever. And so here is my listing contract.
Choose you.
I did.
And this isn't gonna work, I need to go back.
Doing
Yes. I'm gonna go here, and I'm going to go add signees. And I'm gonna go add county. And I'm gonna delete me.
Mine pulled up a contract, so is that good? I didn't know what yours did, but.
So I've just deleted me, right? Did you
Yeah.
see how I did that? I did that by clicking on my, by going back here to the garbage can. It's kind of gray, it's hard to see, but there's a garbage can back here.
Okay.
So I just clicked the garbage can and got rid of me,
Okay.
right? And so now I'm gonna hit next, and the reason I needed to have, we need to actually have the broker, I need you to see that the form fills in the signatures for you,
Oh.
if you've got the right title. And this is the listing broker, right? So here we've got the person, and if you've got multiple people signing, there would be other names up here in this list. And here is our documents, and if you had more than one document, they would all appear here. And now you scroll down, and you can see,
Put it up there.
so we're gonna pull Peony's initials to the broker box. And now I want to make sure that the date appears, and the date field isn't coming up, so I'm going to click on the edit,
You reminded me that I have a bomb.
and I want to include the date field.
Yeah.
And I'm going to apply, and lo and behold, there's a date field. So if you don't see a date field, click the little cog. It's the little cog here is your edit button, is the cog, and you can add a date field. And now I'm gonna go to the next, and I'm gonna do it again, initial. And the date field, for goodness sakes. And I gotta do this every page, because for some reason it isn't doing it, and I don't know why it's not doing it. When is that, Zipforms class?
Is it tomorrow? We have two
Friday,
classes there.
Thursday, let me look.
Okay, I need a Zipforms class, because this is, well, I need the Sinex class, because so much has changed in here
On
that.
the 12th.
Okay.
Next Tuesday.
Next
So
Tuesday.
Zipforms is 9:15 and then ZipLogix is 12:30.
Great. So I'm gonna go here and add one more, and then when I'm done with that, I can hit the send button. Of course, on the last page, I need to drag a signature down. So this is initials and this is signature. I'm gonna drag the signature here, and that does have a date that comes up. I don't need to add the date on signatures. And now I can hit the send button, and when I hit the send button, I get a template for an email. And it pre-fills it for me and says, "This is Marian Haller from Keller Williams Realty Maui. I'm using ZipLogix Digital Ink powered by Sinex to deliver documents to you for review and signature."
Can you clean that up? Is that okay, or you have to promote them?
Totally. However, after a while, you don't care and you're just gonna leave it.
Yeah.
So what I do is I leave that sentence and I put my cursor here and I add my notes. So that they get used to, this is the standard sentence, right? They get used to it, because as I go forward, I'm not gonna need to write them, I'm just gonna send it to them and they get it. It's all okay. So what I want you to do is I want you to name yourself as the seller or a buyer, and I want you to send a signature file to yourself. I want you to see what it's like to get one of these, okay? And you can do that as you do your homework. And your homework for the next couple of days until Friday's class is to list this property for Larry Lister.
So in here you don't, the agent doesn't actually sign anything, it's just the broker.
That's correct. The agent does not sign
I don't,
a,
there's no next, there's no save, there's no.
What are you doing?
what are you doing? What are you asking,
I
Terry?
just, I could never get to these places.
Scroll down.
There's nothing else there.
Sure, all the way down.
Are you in a Mac?
Oh, I just, you know what, I just.
Are
clicked out
you
of it.
using Chrome?
After I clicked it, I just clicked the X.
I thought we had to get to the next.
So now you are, you're there. All right,
Maybe,
yeah.
Are you using Chrome?
yes.
Okay. Yeah, you just,
Yeah, it's there, that's what it is.
Okay, okay.
all right, so this is your homework assignment. So this is Larry Lister and he wants to sell his condo. He's called you up. It's at Cam Sands, building number 10 on the 2nd floor. It's a 2-bedroom, 2-bath. The kitchen was renovated in 2005 and the floors are tiled and the bath cabinets were replaced also in 2005. It's a vacation rental with a good record. All furnishings are included and the furniture was brand new just 3.5 years ago. So that means you have to go in and figure out how much to sell it at too, right? So one of the hints I'm going to give you is, because this is Cam Sands, you can actually Google Cam Sands, Kamaiole Sands map. And you will get a map of Cam Sands. If you don't have a Maui condo book, if you have a Maui condo book, of course you've got it in there. So that you can see where the buildings are. Because is anybody here familiar with Cam Sands? Okay, been there, right? If you haven't been there, it's a great opportunity to go there. It's huge. It's got 12 buildings? Something like that. A lot. And they're not all in the same location, right? And the view, does view make a difference? Oh my God, right? So location, 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 you need to figure out where this condo is and then price it accordingly and then write me up a listing contract. And then you send it to me. If you want to practice sending it to me for signature, that's fine. If you just want to send it to me for review, here's what we do. We're going to cancel all this.
Okay.
We're going to cancel all this. Quit. Quit. Transaction. So I quit. I hit the little quit. There was a little quit button up here in the Sinex, and that takes me back to my document. So now if I wanted to take this document as well as you are going to have the the data input form, right? These two documents are what you're going to want to send to your broker, because your broker signs in, fills in and signs, excuse me, doesn't fill in, you fill in. Broker signs the data input form as part of the contract.
And is that Exhibit A?
That's Exhibit A is data input form, that's correct. Single family residential data form, right here. So now you do this by hitting the send button, and you say, I want to email this. And you can email or use via Zip Community, just hit email, I think. And we're going to check which two I want to email. I'm going to hit the next button. And I want to send this to Marion, she's my broker, right? And there we go, and now you can write me a little message and send. And that's how you send contracts to me. If I'm your broker, I like to review your contract before you send it to me for signature. And then when I've reviewed it and given you feedback and changes, then you fix it and then you send it to me for signatures, how that works, right? If you want to just practice you can practice either one. You can practice sending this one and then we'll practice a signature on the next one.
So we're not
sending.
Try just
signed
sending,
ones.
just send it to me.
Send it.
Your
Just-
Gmail or KW? That has your Gmail.
I don't have a KW, or my KW is totally, my email is marion.haller@gmail.com.
And this Larry is the guy that owns the thing, so we're doing ourselves as the listing agent. And Larry is the seller.
Mhm.
Okay, you said name me as the seller.
That's
or
just
the
to get
buyer.
for e-sig, just to use that.
Do we make up a tax ID number?
There's only 4 units. You could pick one of the 4, or, sure, make it up. It's fine. Yeah. That was a lot. Thank you for your attention, everybody.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.